I got super into this one. I've been playing it a lot with my girlfriend. Actually, we've been playing co-op. You were playing mostly single player, and a little bit of co-op with me. Let's compare the single player experience to co-op, because I've mostly been invested in co-op, and I think it's been a really good time. But what do you think of the single player that you played?
I mean, I think after I kind of learned the ropes, it was a little difficult for me at first, but after that, it's like a really it just keeps your attention. It has like a rhythm to it. Like it's kind of the same gameplay loop over and over and over, but the increase in challenge makes it interesting, and just the constant like awareness. It's like a blood pumping game some of the time.
Yeah, and that roguelike element of repeating areas over and over, I've not gotten into any other roguelike. Like, I've played Binding of Isaac, I've played Spelunky, I've played some of the big roguelikes that have been coming out lately, and they just didn't grab me. But this one did, and I think some of that is just the basic. Not obviously, Binding of Isaac has great basic mechanics, Spelunky has great basic mechanics, but I happen to be really particularly fond of the way that this game handles its mechanics. It's a twin stick shooter, but it's fast enough, and I particularly like the roll element. The fact that you can roll out of the way of bullets, and if you just time it right, you're invincible for a fraction of that roll. It's a bit like the Dark Souls roll, right? And I'm a huge fan of that. I think that adds a lot, and it makes it really fun, especially when some of the moments become like bullet hell, right? It's just 100 bullets on screen, and it's really hard to dodge.
Right.
So being able to roll really adds to like a reactive, quick, enjoyable experience.
Right. It gives you a last resort, because I know that like I've played bullet hell games before, like Ikaruga and stuff, and actually Ikaruga is different too, because in that game sort of has a roll aspect to it. It has like a last resort way of escaping bullets, and I think that makes it more interesting. I think this game is really fun when you're dodging like a ton of bullets, but sometimes you really just want to kind of have a breather, and dodge. And I think it makes for a good. It's like really satisfying to roll out of the way.
Yeah, and then it becomes about getting that timing down, right? That's something that's like a skill set you start to build as you play more, is like getting better and better at that timing. It's really fun to get into the mechanics that are much bigger than just the moment to moment. With my girlfriend, we were sort of just figuring out that there's like hidden walls, and like the fireplaces, you could turn off the fire by putting water into it, and then you unlock whole new areas. And so there's elements of the game that as you get further and further, and also you're unlocking new characters, like you're finding characters in prison cells, and then they get to stay in your hub world, right, which is like the between level location that you always return to. And so none of that is told to you. You're sort of learning it, and as you learn that, it really adds to the experience, and it feels natural. It feels like you're sort of, it takes hours and hours, but eventually you're figuring out these new things that'll just make your time a little bit easier. And I really enjoy that. I think it gets doled out at a really nice pace, so that it felt like I was consistently learning new things for quite a while. On top of just getting better at playing the game. I don't usually like roguelikes. I think one of the things that helps this one compared to some of the other roguelikes, all roguelikes are procedurally generated, right? They have mostly random locations, and this one's random level placement. But my understanding is that the individual sections of the level, rather the individual rooms within the level, are not totally random. They're somewhat designed, right? So he designs the placement of the walls, which is like your cover, and maybe where some of the enemies would be, so that there's still random elements. You still don't know what guns you're going to pick up. You still don't know like what types of enemies you're going to meet. But the room is still designed around the players so that you're having a fun experience as you're going throughout the environment. And I think that really works to this game's favor, because that's one of the things that I got. Like the thing that puts me off of roguelikes very often is the lack of design actually gets distracting to me. I start to notice it. I feel like, oh crap, like it's just another circle room or whatever. Oh, this is one of those rooms, and you just get kind of tired of doing that. And I'm sure I could get tired of this one, but I think I get tired less soon. It's not immediate like it would be another roguelike.
Yeah, it feels more tailored for you, rather than maybe some other games feel like a ball pit.
Yeah. Is it a lot? Some other games feel like you're getting everything thrown at you at once, like the kitchen sink, everything, and it's just sort of like having fun with this. And this one, you're having fun, and there's a lot being thrown at you, but there's a certain degree of planning that really benefits the whole experience. There is a difference, having played both single player and co-op. The co-op is actually kind of harder, and I don't know. What do you think? Because we just played a little bit of co-op.
Yeah, I think the co-op is really cool, and I mean clearly you like it because you played so much of it. But it's also it's kind of a weird thing where I think because this game is so much about dodging bullets, it's kind of strange to have the camera not be based on just one character.
Yeah,
the character's kind of moving around, so everything suddenly becomes a little more watery.
Yeah,
so it's
very
harder
loose.
to dodge things. Yeah, but I mean overall, it's like basically the same experience. Like they do preserve the experience between the co-op and the single player, so that's to be commended.
Yeah.
But when I finally, because my first experience with the game was with co-op, and I didn't know anything about the game, and you were kind of leading me through it. But when I played by myself, I found it like 10 times easier. Just to wrap my head around everything.
I think some of that is the balance that that the developer seems to implement into the co-op, right? So the single player, you get to keep all weapons, all chests are yours, all the items you find are yours. It's easier to focus because your character is the center of attention. With co-op, even though you have an additional player alongside you, which should make it a lot easier, right, to have a second gun shooting at enemies, it gets a bit harder because the camera does not zoom out that much. So it's trying to focus on both of you in a very limited range, and it could be really distracting when a whole lot of noise is on screen, and then your character is another part of that noise, and you're having to split your items and your weaponry. Yeah. So you get a great gun, but then you have to decide, okay, who gets it, and then all the health pickups that are dropping, you have to decide who gets that, and so you're really actually needing to work together. Otherwise, you're gonna have a really hard time.
And as far as I understand it, you also don't get like more revive abilities, right? Like you still have the same number of revives. And
yeah, it doesn't seem like they increase it to accommodate, right? So you're really just you got to think through. Okay, who's going to keep this? Who's going to keep that? And then if someone dies, you only get one revive, and that's it. Unless you get lucky and maybe find one or something. I've never found a revive. I only have the revive that the co-op player starts with. And so if you die, you have one revive available, and then the only other way to revive a dead player is by defeating a boss or opening a chest, which then gets rid of the item that would have otherwise been in that chest.
Right.
So there's like a payment that you got to deal with.
Yeah, it seems balanced more towards both of those players being really good, because if one of them isn't good, then you're just wasting a lot of items and things.
Yeah, it takes both players knowing the mechanics well and working together within those mechanics. Like when me and my girlfriend playing co-op at first, we were pretty damn terrible because we had no idea what we were doing, and we didn't know how to properly balance the weaponry and like who gets what and when to use certain items or how to take advantage of secrets that become available. And as we got further and further along, we got more used to the game, and we individually got better, and that led to a much better experience overall. But I do think co-op is harder. But overall, it's fun on both ends, though, right? Like I have a lot of fun with the co-op because the game is kind of wacky. Yeah. And it's wild enough and fast enough that the co-op is exciting, and it's fun to just kind of joke with the person you're with. Yeah. And single player is more focused, and you're actually, when I'm playing single player, I'm actively thinking like I want to get further and further, and I'm not necessarily thinking that when I'm playing co-op.
Right. When you're playing co-op, the environment of the game and the crazy fast-paced nature of the gameplay is bringing out the emotions between you and your co-op player.
Yeah, it's more about the journey than the end, right? And the single player, you're actually thinking like, oh, I can't wait to get this next new gun, because it's all yours, and you're just sort of developing your character and getting further. Right. And there's a few different characters that you get to pick from in this game, which is nice. I think you unlock more. I actually haven't unlocked the other characters yet. But I've unlocked other characters that show up in the hub, but I haven't unlocked other characters to play as.
So how do you find new characters?
Okay, so as you're going around the dungeon, every once in a while you get lucky, and obviously this is procedurally generated, so there's no guarantee. Every once in a while you will get lucky, and there will be a room where there's a prisoner there, and if you happen to get the key to unlock that prison door, which is also random, you can then speak to that character, and they will forever from that point on show up in your hub world. And some of them will sell you items. Some of them will serve as shortcuts, so you can get, you don't have to start at level 1 every single time if you have that character, right? And what it is, it's a permanent element to the otherwise impermanent roguelike game, right? Because those characters give you that advantage, whatever that buff might be, continuously. It saves to your profile, right?
So after all this time you've been playing, you still haven't gotten all the characters. It's entirely based on luck, right?
I think so, yeah, because you never know when they're going to pop up in the dungeon. I've seen them pop up in the first area of a dungeon, and then I've also seen them pop up like way down the line. So it seems to me entirely luck, and I definitely don't think that I have all of them. Like there's a room that's still locked, and it looks like there's room for more characters, and I know that I haven't gotten the playable characters, and that I look forward to that, more playable characters. Right now there's 4 default ones. Actually there's 5. If you play co-op, there's a 5th co-op only character, and each character starts with a different weapon. They start with different equipment, and it just adds a little bit of variety, right, to the game. Some of them are better at shooting. Some of them are better at like the kind of items that they have. Like one of them has a lock pick, so you get to open chests, right? So it just depends on what kind of gameplay you want to have. It's interesting though that the co-op doesn't let you pick more than one of those characters. You have to. The co-op character has to be this co-op specific character.
Right.
I'm sure that's a balance thing. Maybe if they don't want you, the developer doesn't want you to combine like the lock picking character with the marine, because maybe that'd be too easy. Perhaps that's just my guess.
Yeah. They seem to definitely not want the co-op to be too easy.
Yeah. Maybe I imagine that the issue would be 2 really great characters can just mop the floor with the enemies. So they need to balance that out a little bit.
Does the game have an ending?
I don't know, actually. Like I've gotten decently far with my girlfriend. I don't know. The environments just keep changing. I keep getting new bosses. You can look at this little book in game, and it shows the amount of items that there are, and there's a crap ton of items. So it seems like it's definitely gonna last a while for you to see everything. I'm sure there's some kind of ending, although maybe not, because this type of game probably doesn't need an ending, right? It's more about the challenge of like how long can you last, right? And there's enough items to be unlocking that you could really have an enjoyable experience just going on as long as humanly possible. I don't know. It doesn't matter either way whether it has an ending or not, because I think that you're not going to get there. The game is hard enough that it's not likely, unless you spend a lot of time getting really good at it, that you're actually going to reach it. And that's fine, because the game is super fun otherwise. But if you want to get that good at it, the mechanics are solid enough that you can. I think one of the things that adds to the gameplay a lot, and it is really the focus of the game, it's called Enter the Gungeon, so clearly guns are a pretty big part of it. Every time you're playing, you're almost always going to be getting new types of guns out of chests. You start off with a default gun, which each character has a different default gun. But as you play, you unlock more guns, and there's a huge variety of guns that you can get. And some of them will be like freeze rays. There'll be little laser pistols. There'll be little fire guns or rockets, and there's endless variety of guns, and it just adds to the replay value of the game, right? Because even though you're going through the same areas, having a new gun changes the way in which you process and go through that area. And then even in co-op, it becomes fun just to have like one character have a freeze ray gun and the other one have like a lightning gun or something, and you can work together. I've actually seen some of the guns literally work together, where like one will shoot water on the floor, and then you put electricity there, and it like electrifies the
awesome.
water. Yeah, so they have integration like that. But I've only seen that like once. But still, it's nice to know that that's there.
Yeah. That's a cool secret.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty more secrets that you and I haven't discovered at all. And we'll probably keep playing this game long after this video goes up. It's a really enjoyable game. The weapon variety adds a lot. It's just a fun game. There's a lot of indie games like this. There's a lot of roguelikes. There's a lot of twin stick shooters. This one's not changing the game. It's not revolutionary in any way. I mean, Binding of Isaac is kind of like the same idea as this. But this one just has enough style and funkiness to it. The humor's odd. It's all about time and like killing your past self and just being kind of weirdly abstract like that.
I think the thing that makes it stand out above something like for example, Rogue Legacy, which I played and liked to an extent, but not as much, was just that it's fun, and that's hard to convey in terms of a review. But
yeah,
it's really fun, and that doesn't come automatically with this kind of thing.
Overall, I think it's a good game.
Yeah, I think we should play it more. I think it's pretty fun. It's my main takeaway. It's a fun game.